Hey, what's up guys? BLS here bringing you my second narrated Pokemon Black and White 2 Wi-Fi battle. This was a Wi-Fi battle between some guy that I found on Smug on Wi-Fi Battle Finder, and you see that it looks like he's carrying a Sunny Day team, and I'm carrying a Sand team, but my Sand team really isn't a standard one per se, or whatever, and his doesn't look too standard either. So yeah, you see that I have the Shuckle. The Shuckle's just there because it's carrying knockoff, so my plan was to basically stall out, rest, and just knock off their items, because most of the Pokemon are useless without their items, really, and it just brings out their weaknesses. But I guess my plan was, my plan backfired, and I kind of misplayed, and he went for the late game sweep. So yeah, let's get into the battle, and you'll see. So he leaves off with his Infernape, while I lead off with my Shuckle, and my hard body Shuckle. Like, he can take anything, really anything. So he takes that U-turn like a boss, and he sends out his Fortress. I'm like, okay. So I go for the knockoff because I was expecting his Infernape to stay in. So yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of tired right now. Anyway, he sets up the Stealth Rocks, and I decide to set up my Stealth Rocks. And yeah, we're just setting up our Stealth Rocks, and it's very, very interesting. Yeah, this Shuckle, if you're just curious, is maxed out in special defense and defense. Yeah. So I was afraid that his Fortress carried Earthquake, so I was trying to scout out the Earthquake. That's why I went into my Babe, because I knew he could kind of take an Earthquake, not a problem. Yeah, I really don't know why I went for the superpower, whatever. I honestly don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, I switch out after he sets up his Toxic Spikes back into my Shuckle, and I don't even mind that it gets poison, really, because I have Rest on this Shuckle. It's pretty standard set. So he sets up his second layer of spikes. I'm like, okay, that's really nice and everything, and I'm taking poison damage, and he goes for the Volt Switch. I'm like, okay, that's really nice, because that won't do anything, and it did practically nothing. So yeah, I go for the rest as he switches into his Ninetales. And I'm like, okay, Ninetales, yeah, I could wall this thing, right? Right? Yeah, I was kind of wrong. He's gonna practically 2-hit KO me. And you see this Flamethrower does a lot, disregarding the fact that I'm maxed out in special defense. That means his special defense is over 600, and that thing just did over 90. I'm like, okay, whatever. So he goes for the second Flamethrower. I was hoping that I can knock off his item, so I'm assuming that it's Choice Spec or Choice Scarf. I don't know, one of those. So I go into my LeBron, my Heatran, to take the Flamethrower, and I get the boost, and I'm assuming that they're gonna switch out. So yeah, I didn't go for the fire move. I should have went for the fire move, because that would have killed this Fortress, and that would have saved me a lot of work. But anyway, this Earth Power does more than what I thought it would. But yeah, so I bring out my Ditto, because I thought this was the perfect time that I could mimic his Fortress and set up my own Toxic Spikes to my own advantage right now, because I know it's moveset already. So I'm like, okay, I'll just go and set up my own Toxic Spikes. And he switches out into his Infernape, but I switch out after I set up one layer of spikes, because I was predicting a fire move. So I go in, after I take my poison damage, I go into my LeBron, my Heatran, but he predicts that switch, because this is an obvious switch, obviously, and he goes for the U-turn, just playing it safe, and it doesn't do much, and I really don't know what I go for. Oh yeah, I go for the Earth Power, right. Yeah, so I go for the Earth Power, and That's gonna easily take out this Electivire. I don't even know why he thought to bring into his Electivire. He probably thought it was Choice Spect, but this Heatran is Choice Scarfed because it already has massive special attack. Why would I need it to be even more? So he brings out his Fortress. I can easily take it out with another Earth Power, and yeah, he's dead. So I'm like, okay, I'm gaining momentum and everything. So he brings out his Terrakion, the biggest threat on his team. So I'm like, alright, that's fine. That's not a problem for me. I'll bring out my Shuffle, my Shuckle, just as death fodder. And he goes for the close combat. And see, this is where I make the mistake. I thought I already set up my sand, and I really didn't. But yeah. Anyway, I bring out my Nostradamus, my Alakazam, Magic Guard, like, it's so boss. So yeah, I go for the Psychic just because. And yeah, this thing is not taking the Psychic too well from a Life Orbed stab Alakazam, and it shouldn't. So yeah, it's an easy 2-hit KO. And I go for the Psychic again, and that thing is dead. And so, this is where all else falls apart, really. So I go for my HP Ice, which isn't really standard, and I don't like standard things. It does a lot. It could have did more. It should have done more. I should have went for either the Psychic or the Psyshock, because I carry both, just in case there's a bulky Pokemon, either specially or defensively. So yeah, this is where I make the mistake. I bring out my Babe, thinking the Sandstorm is up, and I go for the Retaliate, and I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? And I'm like, oh crap, I don't have the Sandstorm up, so that pretty much kills and ruins this entire game because of that one misplay. But you know, it happens, really. So yeah, then I bring out my bitch, and I can easily take out this this Hydreigon or whatever. So I go for the superpower, blah blah blah, yada yada yada, and it dies, and I take poison damage. And he brings out his biggest threat, Terrakion, because Infernape is not a problem for me. So I'm like, okay, let me bring out my Ditto as death fodder, because I thought it was choice banned initially. So yeah, my Ditto goes down. Sad day, sad day for me. But yeah, I think actually, because my Ditto was choice scarfed, I don't know who would have went first, really. Who would have went first? Because we're at the same stats. But yeah, this is where I figure out that he is choice scarfed, because I am also choice scarfed. And he's gonna easily sweep my team. Had I not switched into my Stoutland, my Babe Stoutland, the outcome of this battle would have been totally different. Even my Heatran was outsped by this thing, because my Stoutland, because due to Speed Rush, it's at max speed and max attack, so its attack is over like 560 or whatever, which is going to outspeed a choice scarfed Terrakion. But yeah, it was a good game nonetheless, and being that I had two non-ordinary Pokemons on my team, especially the Shuckle. The Shuckle did more than I asked it to, even though it didn't really take much of those hits too well. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment below knowing what I could do better, whatever, if you liked it or disliked it. Yeah, so catch you guys later. Peace.